Okay, there are like two songs that you do not mess with in Singapore. One is
Majulas?
Home
Oh, no.
Truly.
Oh, yes.
I don't even know how to sing the song. I just remember Home Truly.
Yes.
Right. Okay, you do
Where
not
I
mess with
am,
this
I
song.
must
The second
be.
song you don't mess with in Singapore is Count on Me Singapore. Count on me Singapore.
Yeah.
Actually, it's quite corny, but everybody loves that song. Why? It's a
Yes.
classic.
Yes, classic.
But does the younger generation even know it?
Yeah, I think they do.
They do?
Or at least we do.
Okay, so hi everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to Uncommon Humanity. This is Charmaine here.
It's Caris.
And today we're going down random rabbit holes.
Again.
Yeah. Again? Where go again?
We did one.
Oh, because we just did the Ask
Yes.
Us Anything recording last week. Okay. No. By the time this drops, it'll be like 4 weeks later or something. So we want to do a like just random recording today.
Yes.
So that we don't have to be so stressed because we're kicking an episode we don't want to do down the road. So we polled you guys on Instagram and our number one fan replied us.
Yes.
And so we're going to do two of his suggestions today. Yo, Clement Low.
Shout
by the
out.
way, I have an idea for merch.
Oh.
But I'm going to keep it secret. So I have an idea for merch. But Clement Low, if you're listening in, we will give you one about merch when the merch comes out. Because you are the best at like commenting, following Instagram, everything.
Catching up on all the episodes.
Yeah. So Clement suggested today we talk about two things. One is the Count on Me India incident.
Oh yeah,
that just happened today, right?
Yes, today.
Where somebody plagiarized the Singapore song Count on Me Singapore. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. And then another one he suggested is birth order. And then we're going to talk about nothing, which is there's been a hot topic. Or a few weeks ago, a hot topic in Singapore.
Yeah.
And then hot topic in our team. And that's about girls dressing.
Oh.
Turn. Yeah, but anyway, okay, so the Count on Me India situation, what happened, Caris?
Oh, it was really funny because it's like this guy claimed that he wrote the song and he owned the song, the copyright to the song. And then they basically, I think, plagiarized 99% of the song. Basically, they just copied the song, they just changed Singapore to India. Or Mother India.
And then some little grammatical errors in transcription, right? It wasn't even like he rewrote the song, he just transcribed wrongly. It looked like it transcribed wrongly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I love MCCY's reply. They said that we thank Singaporeans for coming forward to express your sense of pride in our national song. And then sometimes imitation is the best form of flattery.
But that wasn't their reply initially.
Yes.
Because the online citizen said at first it was very serious, like we are investigating the situation. And after it got updated to...
Yeah.
Actually, so we were speculating what exactly went wrong. No, I bet you it's because they went to investigate. And I think they know that the overseas law will be a problem. And then number two, the guy probably got no money, the guy who plagiarized.
Oh, no.
So like sue also no use. So it's best not to. Then somehow Singapore, we've been accused multiple times lately of being very petty, right? So maybe it's a public image thing.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but seriously this guy, he very poor thing. Of all the songs you got to pick to plagiarize, you go and pick Count on Me Singapore. It's like sacrilege. No, really, what the uproar online is quite funny.
He said he only know about this like song in Singapore like few days ago.
Word for word. So funny. Then the way he dated also, you read his reply, right? So fishy. Like he dated it to the period of time where the actual composer wrote it, so that he could like come off as like he wrote it like maybe 1 month earlier or something like that. It's so ridiculous. Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah, but I guess it's funny lah.
Yes.
It's funny to get plagiarized in that way.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. I find it really quite funny.
Yeah.
Then the PR firm also in India never checked.
Oh, yeah.
They said he claimed to have the copyright and then they just assumed that it's correct. But then they took down all the stuff they put out of that song. Yeah, but online it's still circulating lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really funny.
Yes.
Winnie, Raymond, how y'all feel about this? Plagiarism of our national, not even national anthem, national song.
I think it's interesting. I also think that like you get inspiration by copying, but plagiarizing exact tune and everything. I think that is
It's quite crazy, eh? It's
Yeah,
like
it
so
was,
blatant. Yeah. No, actually, so I have a question for you guys, right? Actually, what exactly constitutes plagiarism? Like, this is, of course, a blatant situation, right?
Yeah, word for word, and then
Yeah, in uni, were you
everything.
made to, do the,
Yeah,
the turn it in?
citation.
Yeah, the citations and turn it in to
Yes.
check how much you
Yeah.
cite.
Yes, you
Yeah.
have to like quote it, and then you have to cite it.
Yeah, but nobody really gives us the exact criteria of what it is, right? It's just that if we quote, it must be in quotation marks and we must put citation.
Mm-mm.
And then we rephrase also, we must like put the footnotes that the idea is taken from somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how they actually calculate the percentage that you plagiarize is like not clear. I'm sure they have a formula lah, but they don't exactly teach us in university. Yeah.
I think they put through this like I think system or something to check it to
Mm.
see if your work is copied from somewhere or something.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know though, like can you plagiarize ideas? Ideas.
Well, okay, so that came up this week, right? So we had this incident from one of my friends, right? This happened to them very recently where somebody plagiarized their work. Like blatantly, to the point where the guy delivered the work, presented the work, and everybody knew that it was plagiarized from her because it's something that she talks about regularly and whatever. So it was very, very blatant. So now she's in this position of what should I do? Like the question mark is like, did he deliberately do it knowingly or did he not? Yeah, but apparently this happens quite often, right? Because I talked to a couple of people and they were like, especially girls, they feel that it happens very often, particularly with ideas. But even with presentations, it happens at work.
Where guys take credit for.
Yeah, lah, which comes in the category of, I guess, mansplaining. Or maybe you should call it man coping.
Man coping.
Yeah. So we had this whole conversation, right?
Yes.
In our leadership team over the weekend. Basically we were just saying like you need to give credit where credit is due, lah.
Yes.
Yeah, but it tends to happen, lor.
More often with.
I don't know, it seems like it. Well, it's a common complaint with girls at work, Yeah. Raymond, what's your take? The poor guy, he's the only guy. It's like every time we need a comment from a guy, it's like, Raymond, what do you think? Later dressing also, Raymond, what do you think?
Give us your input.
Do you think guys knowingly do it or it doesn't occur to them that they're doing it?
I think maybe not. Maybe they. I mean, there will be always some guys who are not aware. There are some guys who are aware but want to claim the credit because of their motive or goals that they want to achieve.
So they're a little bit more sharky, lah.
Yeah. But I mean, there's mixtures of people. It's
But do you
just
think there's a
yeah.
tendency for guys to do it more?
See, I not really sure.
Yeah.
But because I'm surrounded by mixtures of like, I didn't see it occur many, or maybe because me myself also a man, right? I'm not very aware of it.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, no. Well, Winnie, you're working in a predominantly women
Team.
office, right? Women team,
Literally
All women.
100%
100%
right now.
women.
The
Okay,
only
so-
guy left.
So do women do it to other women?
In my team not really, but I think that happens to be. Depends on what their motives are.
Motives, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. People are so sharky, yeah.
Yeah. Or is it the nature of like, I don't know, the work, or
Maybe.
project?
Like, actually, I would really like to read some clear statistics and studies on mansplaining. But anyway, right, we found this quite funny thing online because we decided, like, because we were talking about mansplaining halfway, then I went, actually, what's the definition of mansplaining? Okay, so I read to you all a few. So Google, right, the Google definition is the explanation of something by a man, typically to a woman, in a manner regarded as condescending or patronizing. But there was another definition that I found funnier. It says, a man compelled to explain or give an opinion about everything, especially to a woman. He speaks often condescendingly, even if he doesn't know what he's talking about, or even if it's none of his business. Yeah.
I was like, isn't that like kaypoh?
I don't know lah. Actually, I find actually it's quite funny. So when I was growing up in church, one of the crazy things people used to always say in sermon, every year I hear it at least once. A guy will get on the pulpit and then he will say, and then he'll tie it to the Holy Spirit. It's quite funny. He'll say like women speak don't know how many words a day, and men speak and then the number is like 1/3 of women. But the funny thing is, so we all believe, yeah, women like to talk a lot, women like to talk a lot. And then recently, because all the business studies are coming out,
Yep.
right? And then it's showing that actually men talk a lot more than women. It's so
Oh.
bizarre. So I don't know where that number came from, you know. Because every study I read so far, it bears out that men actually do more talking than women. But maybe because it's a workplace study.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe not a relational conversation study.
Yeah,
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, okay, so we found this other funny thing which we will post on the
Yes, it's so funny.
oh my god, we will post on the Instagram, right, guys? So we found this work life, BBC work life, right, article. And basically what happened is, I think it's an editor or writer at BBC, right, was asked by her colleagues to help some of them tell if they were being helpful or being condescending, and what exactly constitutes mansplaining. So she created
Yes.
this simple chart, right, which went viral. Which again we'll put on Instagram because it's too
Yes.
funny. I don't know how to explain it. So it starts, right? The flowchart starts with, am I mansplaining? And then the first question is, did she ask you to explain it? And then if the answer is yes, then you are not mansplaining. If the answer is no, then there's more questions.
Yeah.
Do you have more relevant experience? And if the answer is she has more, then yes, you are definitely mansplaining. If she has more and is a well-known expert, just stop talking now. It's really, really quite funny and quite helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, what else is there? Yes, by a fair amount. And then it has it has a whole other list of questions. Did she ask for explanation? If she didn't, stop talking.
Yeah.
If she asked for explanation, then maybe your mansplaining, meaning you're not. It's quite funny. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't get it why it's a thing. I just don't understand how it became a thing. Is it cultural or is it in the brain?
I don't know though, because we have guys who ask this question also.
Yeah.
He's
correct.
am I mansplaining? How do I know if I'm mansplaining? They're asking a girl, so
You can send them that flowchart.
yes,
Then
this
carry
will
it
be
with you.
helpful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know lah. But yeah, I think the key principle is, I just think everybody should live with a value system of give credit where credit is due. That's to me the bottom line lah. And I think it applies to whatever. So I was telling the preachers in church recently, just always give credit where credit is due. Someone helped you with the sermon, if someone helped you with the punchline, then acknowledge them or thank them or ask their permission before you use it. Just really simple things to keep relationship nice and considerate.
yeah.
Yeah, and also with quotations.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the quotation thing, I've noticed that it happens also with girl preachers. We tend to cite more men, and we tend to recite the accolades of men more than we do women.
But it's like a not conscious kind of thing, right? It's or both.
Yeah, I suspect maybe it's a not conscious thing. Half okay, because Fuller Seminary, right? There was a thing many years ago. I think just before I started studying as a student there, when I first started, they started transiting, which was there was a complaint made where, and I think some of the professors joined the petition where they said that all the book lists were all white theologians, white men. And so some of the professors started changing up their book lists deliberately.
Yeah.
And then eventually they sort of passed, I think, a policy, if I'm not wrong, where a certain percentage of the book list and reading list had to be female or minority. Yeah, and it started to really shift the theology in seminary to be more diverse and more points of view. And minority students started to speak up more in class because they could relate more to the theologians' work that was coming out lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really think whatever the case is, we have to kind of be
Mm.
very deliberate and intentional about like shifting things.
PC meaning to say we need to be very aware that, for example, if we're presenting something like, I don't know, coming up with a message for
Mm.
if we are delivering a message, to be aware of other points of view. Just be conscious and be
Other
aware.
points of view, meaning that we must bring in diversity.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I was saying like how I don't know, the subconsciously, like maybe even when we are googling online or reading articles, right? There are more articles that are, say, from guys and all that.
Yeah. No, that is a very real
Mm.
problem because it is a thing where sometimes you Google, right, and you're preparing a sermon, right? If 99% of the resources that come up are men, then very hard what. And I was just
Yeah.
telling you during prep
Yes.
just now, right? I think one of the problems, like for example, psychology,
Yup.
this it's been very hip and happening right now, and there are a lot of female psychologists work that are coming out. That's really cool. But you just go back, rewind, right, 10, 15 years, right? Like these female psychologists already existed, but men are more prominent and given more platforms, given more
Yeah,
books,
true.
given more publicity. And so there's a very disproportionate playing field as
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Which
So
makes it difficult to
yeah, but that's where I feel you must deliberately go and highlight.
Mm,
So one
yes.
of the things we asked our guys to do this weekend when we were talking about this issue was
yeah.
like, we asked them, hey guys, would you deliberately, when you preach sermons,
Mm,
use some female perspectives, you know,
mm,
quote female leaders, bring in female ideas?
mm.
Because I think it also makes a difference to the men in the room when they see that other men on the platform are citing women's work
Yeah.
and standing up for women's issues, you see, as compared to a girl doing it.
It's just different, right?
Yeah, because when it's a girl, they just like, especially in Asian context, like the guys are just like, oh, it's the girls talking about girls. Like, which is really irritating because I don't find myself particularly like effeminate in my choices or in my reading or in my perspective. But I just feel like that's a imposed box and lens on how you look at me just because I'm female.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but let's complicate this a little bit, right? Like how much do we cite and quote? Right?
Yeah.
Because like sometimes it's easy, like when we do this podcast, we read a book and we have an idea and it comes from somewhere we say.
Yes.
But then other times we're just reading from all over randomly and then we don't even remember where we. Yeah. No, I think maybe we don't want to misquote lah and miscite.
Yes.
But we absorb ideas in a way sometimes that is not studied.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had another thing happen to me when I was in school in seminary. So I would write papers and one day I had a consultation with a professor and he commented something about my work and he said, it's really good and I scored really well. But he said, I've noticed through your writing, I can tell because he's an experienced PhD, like what did you call it? PhD mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he went, when it's your own idea, you should just own your own idea. He said that to me. And I was like, what do you mean? So I can tell that some things in your paper are your idea, but you felt the need to go and find another author who wrote about that to justify your idea as valid. And he said, you don't need to do it. He said, you're citing too much. And you're crediting too much when it's actually your idea. And I was quite stunned because I was like, that's the first time someone said that to me. And I was quite like, whoa. And then I started to notice it's true. I don't own my own ideas well. Yeah, so I have this guilty conscience problem, right? Which is sometimes I have an idea about a podcast and we're going to record the podcast in 3-4 weeks time or the sermon I'm going to preach in 3-4 weeks time. And then suddenly I meet a mentor and they mention something similar. And then after I go into the sermon and I go, whose idea was this? Like mine or that person's idea? Like who am I supposed to credit for this? Yeah, then it becomes a moral dilemma for me. And then I have to go, okay, but did I genuinely come out with that? I did. I don't need to say that person said it. I tend to say that person said it rather than say I said it. Yeah. But again, question. Do you think this happens more with girls? Winnie is nodding.
Probably. Like the second guessing, right?
Yeah, I think
Is it really my
I think very often we kind of need sounding boards or like we need validation sometimes to one factually check whether it's correct or not. That's like okay. But I think we are very used to like needing second opinions to
Validate the.
validate our thoughts,
Yeah.
somewhat like that.
I feel that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever catch yourself, for example, for me, I've caught myself, and Pastor Estella has caught me doing it, where a certain idea actually originated with me, but I say it originated with her. Because like maybe we were in a conversation, right? So I say A, and then she comments B, and I comment C, and then I just go, actually Estella said it. And she's like, no, I didn't say it, you said it. She's like, why don't you own your own idea? I just did her voice. Yeah, do you ever find yourself doing that sometimes?
I think so. Because I
Yeah.
don't know, like maybe in poly or in school I used to like having to cite everything. Like to
Yeah.
find like proof for everything. So it became a habit for me where like I need to have backing research and stuff. That's important, but I think if it becomes 100%.
So is this a personality problem? Because you and I are the same personality.
Maybe we
type.
see.
Oh my god, do you do that?
I don't know though. As in like, as y'all are talking, I'm trying to ask myself, do I own the ideas? Because I don't feel finding validation or examples to back up what you believe is an important thing. Like
Yeah.
you don't just wanna just have assumptions, right? You want to have evidence. So
Yeah.
what
But I
is-
think the two of us are excessive.
Yeah.
The detail excessive. I think that's the reason why
Yeah.
possibly.
then it bleeds over to like okay, so this is
Yeah.
all like
Mm.
all not my ideas.
Yeah, no, it does because I keep attributing it to somebody else, or I give it to
Ah.
somebody else, or I don't expect them to credit me for helping them come up with the idea. So it's been very recent that I decided to say, no, guys, you give credit where credit is due. So either you thank me before the sermon, like you thank me, or thank me in person when I'm helping to train you. So
Yeah.
Edwin said thank you, of course.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't mean like side to the point where your sermon has no flow already.
Yeah.
Then you're just like, this idea you cannot preach like that. What? Yeah,
Yes.
but I do believe like if you got a lot of help, you should acknowledge people that help you
Yes.
figure it out.
Mm.
Yeah, but I find that I find tendency is sometimes guys tend to credit less and just take it as their own versus I feel sometimes girls credit people too much. Overboard. Like,
Yeah.
cause sometimes the girls also like, Pastor, you help me do that. I like, no. You are over attributing like how much I help you. I help you this much, so say thank you, yes. But all the other stuff was you. Yeah. Next topic.
Yes.
Okay. Director says next topic. Poor Raymond. Raymond's gonna be on the spot the whole day. Ray, are you okay? Okay. So next topic, right? We're gonna talk about dressing.
Yes.
And so we need to issue a trigger warning right now, right? Just in case, because we might venture into sexual harassment, sexual assault territory. So if you're listening in, right, right now, maybe don't listen anymore. I don't think it'll be very bad, but just maybe like skip over. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And maybe we'll provide the timing where the third topic comes in.
Yes.
Then you can come in. Yeah, okay. Because really there's been a lot of news on sexual harassment and assault in the papers, Actually, here's a secondary thought about trigger warnings. I actually think newspapers should start issuing some trigger warnings. I find it getting quite bad, Like I feel like my Facebook feed is perpetually like sexual assault case now, today, online, ST. Yeah. I'm like really wondering how people like survivors of sexual assault are feeling on their Facebook feed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Is there a way to do it properly? Like I feel like they should do something like, like if the topic is sexual assault, like they should blur it
Oh, okay.
and have like a trigger warning and say only click in if you want to. I feel
Yeah.
that they should do something like, because once it goes too late already,
I think maybe
Yes.
can implement it online.
Yeah.
Like on their
Yeah.
websites. Like to have like a sensitive content and then you can click in if you
Click
want to read
in
more.
order to
Yeah.
review, right? Actually, it's possible, right? I feel like
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
BBC does that a lot.
Oh, BBC does that?
Yeah.
Why isn't Singapore doing that? It's really too much the past 2 years.
Yeah. I thought Instagram does it too. Like if it's too violent,
Yeah.
they kind of censor the graphic.
Oh, they do. They do.
Yeah.
Instagram does that.
Okay.
and then they will tell you, and then you have to click in if you want to see it.
Yeah. But
It's
I
like a
realize ST
sensitive
doesn't
thing.
like generally
Yeah,
mainstream
no,
media doesn't.
generally here it's very bad. I feel like in the reporting, like every week they're reporting something like that because it clickbait ma. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, we are trying to be vigilant on that on UCH.
Yes.
So in case we ever miss something, like feel free to hit us up and we'll do our best to rectify it lah. But yeah, okay. So anyway, so off this topic, right? Why we're talking about dressing is because recently there was that big article that went crazy
Yes.
online. Where this pastor, I won't say her name, which I feel quite bad for her at this point. Wrote this female youth pastor wrote an article calling on girls to, one part of the article, it's just one part of the article, calling on girls to dress more conservatively so that they don't lead guys into temptation for their sake. Now it got a lot of flack for two reasons. Of course, one is the dressing thing itself, that it puts the onus on girls to control themselves so that guys can control themselves.
Yep.
But secondly, because in her intro,
Yes.
she talked about American
Yes.
evangelist who passed away, but recently everything unraveled where we found out that he was like a pretty serious sexual predator and abuser.
Yep.
And I don't know why she put that in her intro. She really messed herself up with that one, which then linked sexual assault to women's dressing to
blaming on the victim.
To blaming the victim lah. So it
Yes.
really blew up. I think they got like 3,000
of
comments,
comments, yeah.
majority of which were angry girls. So it sparked a whole conversation online, and in our team we had extended conversation about it. But let me say, I do really feel for her and want to say something in her defense is I don't think she intended to victim blame in any way. I think it was just an unfortunate situation where she started the article about an incident that had happened in the Christian world that was fresh in the minds of everybody, and went on to write the rest of this article, which really had no clear connection to that incident, and then it became about victim blaming. However, I will say, I don't think under any circumstances it should ever be told to a girl or a woman that you need to control yourself in order for guys to control themselves. Whether it's predatory behavior, whether it's harassment, or whether it's secret objectification of a woman, I just don't think it's on the woman. I think it's on men in this situation. Yeah, and I think the second thing I would say is, in the era of Me Too, I think we need to start maybe letting go of old church cultures and teachings, because I think the other reason I feel compassionate is I go 20 years ago, I would say I could have easily been the person writing something like this, because you grow up since you are 12, 13, 14 being told this, and then you become a leader in church and you are told to teach this, and it just becomes a reinforced pattern to teach that girls need to dress a certain way in order not to lead guys into temptation. Yeah, so I just think I wish someone had looked out for her a little bit more before she wrote this, before it got published. Because anyone who's been reading up and up to date on what's been going on, you know that this is just a no-no and not an appropriate time to ever raise it. Yep, so it
Yes.
sparked a whole conversation in our team as well. Does girls dressing affect guys? Right? Because I think some of the girls in our team, the guys also were asking, right? So is it reasonable to ask everyone, including guys, to dress appropriately so that we don't create temptation? Like, is that something we're supposed to think about? Like, they're just genuinely asking.
want to
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So we had an answer for that. Caris, you want to explain some of it?
You see, I think we were saying about how lust has nothing to do with how a woman is dressing.
dressed.
Yeah. If a guy is predatory.
Yeah, okay. So maybe we should separate.
Yes.
Like predatory guys, okay. So if you read the literature and the studies, it's got nothing to do with dressing, pretty or not pretty, revealing or not revealing.
Yes. It has everything to do with power.
Yeah, and
which
control.
Is they think, or they are in a position, or they can do. They think they can
get
that.
away with doing that. So it has nothing to do with the the person themselves. It's just a object of violence, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's where and I think that's where I was annoyed. If you just read a Me Too article, right, you wouldn't have written something like this. And the editors of that outlet should have stopped it, because it's
Yep.
just a like, my God, it's tone deaf, and you should have just one article will explain everything to you, that you should not write something like that lah. Yeah, so when it comes to assault and harassment, we want to say number one, right, it's got
Yep.
nothing to do with who you are, how you dress. But the second thing we brought up was that, because the secondary question was like, in community, should we be considerate and don't be distracting, I guess, was the
Yes.
thing. And
Or what is-
whatever gender you are.
Yeah, and what is is there such a thing called appropriateness, or
Yeah. So a whole
there
conversation.
isn't? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the bottom line is, the first thing we said was, lust exists in the imagination, right?
Yes.
And we asked this, so let's verify this with Raymond, right? Raymond, do you agree? Got
Yes.
nothing to do with clothes or not clothes.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Agree.
Because because Raymond brought out a very clear point, right? He said, like,
Yeah.
you can undress somebody in your imagination, or you don't need to
Yes.
have them naked to imagine them naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for being very frank about that.
Thank you.
Sorry to put. Yeah, it's got nothing. It's all in your imagination. So lust exists in the person who is lusting,
Yeah.
not the person who is the object of lust.
Yes. But PC, we did make a distinction that lust is also different from distraction, right?
Yes. Okay, yeah, that's important. Should we bring in a hero a little bit, just for fun?
Oh, okay. Yes, we can.
Okay, so right, I learned recently this weekend, I was just looking at the Bible and curious, right? What does the word covet mean? The 10th commandment says, do not covet your neighbor's wife or possessions, right? Because now covet's become an almost like neutral positive term. I covet this handbag or this pair of shoes. But when the English was first translated, covet was a very negative term, because it's associated with a Hebrew word that means to lust and take possession over.
What doesn't belong to you?
Yeah, what doesn't belong to you, that you want it, you don't just desire it, you want to own it and control it. Yeah, so there's a way more aggressive, selfish, demanding nature about it. So it's not as simple as attraction. Like, to see a person and feel attracted. I feel like sex drive, attraction, all these things, and then hormones is just normal. But to want to own a person, to control a person, to enact violence, to force a person, that's a whole other thing. Yeah, to objectify a person in your mind, which is like what is not yours, you feel like, but you want to do something. Yeah, then I feel like it's different.
So the desire to want to do something.
To control and not be respectful, to not be considerate. Because I feel to be tempted is normal, right? But to want to like
Take action.
like not just take
Oh.
action, but in your head
okay.
want to like possess, to me is a
yes.
whole other thing.
Mm-mm.
That's the difference between love and lust. Love is you desire, but you desire respectfully and considerately and with mutuality, right?
Yes.
I think same thing is like with sex, right? It's supposed to be mutual. It's supposed to be giving and generous and respectful. It's not control and own
Yep.
and do things to the person in order to satisfy yourself only.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So back to this, right? But so there's a distinction between
Yes.
lusting. When Jesus says, do not lust after a woman, he's not just saying like don't be tempted. He's saying don't want to own and possess and to have that kind of a power dynamic. Yeah.
Yes. And it's different from being distracted.
Yes, completely different from being distracted. So that's the thing that was bothering you. Is it like, what is distraction? Is it?
Yeah, like is it okay? Because I think maybe some of us will feel uncomfortable when guys are distracted.
Distracted by?
Where maybe I don't know, maybe they are looking or they are
Oh, like, but I think there's a difference between voyeurism and
Yes, there is a
voyeurism and
difference.
distraction, right? Like okay, so I gave Chen Xi an example. I was watching Wonder Woman 1984
yes.
with my friend. And there's a scene where she wears really gorgeous white gown and she walks across the screen. And oh my god, we just went, oh, she's so pretty. And like wow. And then we're distracted because she's so pretty.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as voyeurism where you're kind of you're disrespecting a person. You're using them to satisfy your sexual desire in an objectifying way. You're violating and disrespecting them. That's a whole different thing altogether.
Yes.
So I think like you were asking, right, can girls objectify men? Yeah, for sure. But of course I think it happens slightly less in a very problematic way. Because I think generally women are physically most of the time the weaker sex, so to speak. Yeah. So yeah lah. Distraction. So where's the level of distraction? We cannot tell. It varies with person, right?
Yes.
Yeah, some people are. I'm less. I'm like wear whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only time I worry is if let's say I see a youth maybe always posting provocative photos, then my question isn't an issue. Is she tempting other people? That's not my question. My question is there something going on in your life that your self-esteem is very broken, that you will not protect yourself and live your like have some like kind of like pride in yourself and protection where like you don't want negative attention. Yeah, that's more the concern I have. Or even with a guy, if we have boys that post speak of themselves nonstop, I'll be like, why would you think that that's the best way to live your life? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So basically, is it okay? Because we were talking about this, which is it okay to if I land more conservative, or if anyone land more conservative on their dressing, and meaning I personally don't feel comfortable. That's okay, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Then you just dress your way, lor.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm okay, but we said there are many layers to this, right?
Yes.
Like you could be conservative in your dressing just because you prefer it, or maybe because you're self-conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm a little bit self-conscious, so I don't like to wear anything like when I'm preaching, for example, that makes me feel like self-conscious. I want to be able to free to just speak and to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really care. I don't get distracted like when girls in our church wear midriff, for example. I'm like, whatever lah. You wear short shorts also, I don't really care. I mean, if you're wearing hot pants all the time to the point where everything is hanging out, then I'm like, can you maybe tone it down a little bit? Not because I'm like it's a temptation. It's more because you're distracting. Like people are like, not appropriate in this scenario in the house of God, maybe.
It makes people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, it would be same thing like worship team. The worship leaders tell them like, yes, dress well, dress nice. Go ahead, express yourself with your dressing, but don't be distracting. And distracting could be you're overdressed, for example.
Yeah.
So we've had to sometimes tell the young worship leader, maybe take it down a notch. Like you're just too much. Like we're trying to worship, but all we can see is you being overdressed, and it makes you're very self-conscious, and then we become very awkward in your presence. Yeah, you know what I mean, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about like, don't be overdressed, don't be underdressed. Okay.
Yeah, I mean just appropriate time and place or yeah, like I have no objection to girls where I'm not one of those church leaders that we cannot have beach outing. And girls cannot wear bikini, cannot wear swimsuit. Yeah, I'm just not lah. Yeah, but if I feel like a girl is too like trying to attract attention,
it says more of their
to me it says more of their self-esteem
than it is a problem.
Yeah, but you see, I think also it's disproportionately put on girls that you're a distraction. I like guys also distracting when they're trying to show off their muscles. I mean, have you ever been sometimes to Sentosa and some of the guys like strutting around and you're like like I don't mind. I'm not like distracted, but I find your self-consciousness very distracting.
Yes.
Yeah, any thoughts?
Plus, I have a question, which is in our current era, because of social media and culture, right? People are supposedly more desensitized to how someone else is dressing. So does that mean that you shouldn't be as easily distracted?
Um. Okay, so I'm of two minds about this. Okay, so the hopeful answer would be that there's a good side to being desensitized. I don't know that because our generation and younger generations have basically so-called seen or been exposed to it all, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I like to joke around and tell this story that sometimes like the issue of sex and attraction or sex drive can be summed up like how, you know, when you go to JC, right? So I was from an all girl school and I went to JC, and it was very funny observing friends who came from all girls or all boys school. Like when you're suddenly in a co-ed situation, then you can tell like the ones that came from non-co-ed schools are particularly like nervous and like excited and everything else. Yeah, and I always joke like say I was lucky that I wasn't like that because I grew up in church and it was always a co-ed situation. So it's like whatever. But you can see the frazzled, right? And not necessarily because wow, the hormones are raging. Like it just is because it's something new and a little bit scary, right? Yeah, so I think sometimes sex can be like that if you don't give kids information. You don't let people find out more on the reality of what it is. Or maybe sometimes in some church contexts, right, sex is seen like this dirty thing or this secret thing that nobody talks about and only married people talk about behind closed doors. So it becomes this very sensitive thing that is distracting and also jarring when you first encounter it. Yeah, because it's so secretive. But on the flip side, right, I think the problem with desensitization, I mean, let's say in the context of pornography, this is just well researched already. It's creating a lot of marriage problems. Even a secular world acknowledges that. That, for example, men don't feel aroused by their wife because it's the law of diminishing returns. They need a heightened level of nudity and sexual activity in order to feel desire. Yeah, or you put it in the context of boys too, right? Which is again the studies show that the problem is when boys look at porn, if nobody's had a conversation with them about it, that it is not real, they think that it's real. And it starts to affect the way they look at women when it comes to their sexual lives in a very objectifying way, because majority of porn is very objectifying. And they start to treat women a certain way, and they start to want certain things and create certain patterns in their life that possibly lead to inappropriate behavior lah. Yeah, so I think it's a double-edged sword. There could be positives of it if you can harness it correctly and create the right systems around the culture as it is, society. But if you keep trying to kind of hang on to the very Puritan culture of not giving people information and putting fear in them about sex rather than keeping them informed and having mature conversations about the issue is, can you be faithful to someone? Do you know how to love well? And do you know how to desire well? And do you know how to manage your lust well? Which is, to me, lust is about that owning and that possessing. Do you know how to manage that well and be aware of it and learn to turn that into character and respect? So I think that's the real issue, not things like dressing. Yeah, just really not things like dressing.
Moving on. We're gonna talk about the next thing, which is birth order.
Yeah. Actually, we've gone very long already, but then we'll just go for
We're
it.
just gonna go on.
Okay, so birth order.
I think this is interesting.
Yes. Does birth order control our personality?
Yeah. And is there like for example, like if you're firstborn, second and in line, and third, do you have like very specific traits because of your birth order?
Yeah. You want to tell them about Alfred, what's his name?
Alder.
Who is the originator of this whole idea of birth order theory, right?
Yeah, but it's pretty long ago.
Yeah, very long ago, guys. And I would say quite outdated. Maybe just one layer of things.
Yes.
So you want to tell them about it?
Yeah, so he gave some traits or characteristics of like the different birth order, right? So if you're firstborn, you're a natural leader, a high achiever, organized, on time, know it all, bossy, responsible, adult pleaser, obeys the rule, secure with their place in the family, expected to be mature, grow up to be intellectual, responsible, and
And conformist at
conformist.
the same time.
Yeah.
I'm relating to this a little too much. Okay, then the middle child, right?
Middle child. Yes. You're flexible, easygoing, social, peacemakers, independent, secretive, may feel life is unfair, strong negotiator, generous.
Well, but your middle sis is a strong negotiator, I would say.
Yes, I would say that too.
But I don't know that she would feel she's like social and peacemaker.
Yeah.
Actually, this is not fair because there are 3 older children here. Raymond, me, you,
Yes.
and then Winnie is youngest,
Last, yeah.
right? But Raymond is so easygoing. Yeah,
Are
okay, so anyway,
you?
we'll bring it
Oh,
back.
yes, he is.
Okay, so last child, right? But this is only 3 child. What you are 4 or 5? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So last child is outgoing, creative, self-centered. I feel like that's very sweeping. Your little sis is not self-centered at all.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, she's probably very peacemakery, right?
Yes.
Financially responsible.
Irresponsible.
Oh, irresponsible. Sorry. Bored easily, likes to be pampered. Sense of humor. Okay. Then of course only child.
Yeah, if you're the only child, close to parents, self-control, leader, nature,
Nature.
dependable, demanding, unforgiving, private, sensitive.
I'm trying to think of my cousin. The only child I know is my cousin, but maybe slightly. Yeah. But it is slightly outdated lah, this thing. There is
Mm-mm.
some truth
Yup.
about birth order, but I think it has more to do with like dynamics and pattern
Yes.
of relationship, right? The natural thing is parents always like, hey, older child, take care of
Mm.
everybody, and so you grow up more responsible.
Yes.
I think parents are more anal with the first child because they don't know what they're doing, so they're like panicking and a bit more like detailed. Then the second child, they're like give up already because it's like, you know, they say what, one child is tough and then two children is a zoo. That's why. Like it's not 1+1, it's not double the work, it's like a zoo and there's 2. Okay, but anyway, yeah, so I think he's one layer of stuff lah, and I think it's got more to do with dynamics.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, right, you know, every time we in church when they tell the story about the prodigal son,
Mm.
the younger boy and the older son,
Ah.
I always cannot relate to the younger child. I was like, why would I be so irresponsible if I like take the inheritance and go away and spend it? I always like the poor older son. You know, because it's always preached to the younger child, right?
Yes.
So I always relate to the older son. I was like, why is this so unfair? Like, why does nobody acknowledge that the older son is like settling all the
Yeah.
business? Yeah, so I always have that reaction when people preach that sermon.
Yes.
Do you?
I think about the older child also.
You think about the older child? too?
Yeah, I mean I can relate how he feel about
Yeah.
yes.
Raymond, how do you feel about it?
Ooh. I think I stand in the center, like middle point where I look at both and I give reasoning for both sides.
Okay. But do you relate to this at all? Do you feel birth order affects how responsible you are or how?
I don't really think so, but I do think about how our parents raised us up as we were born into the world. Like what they do to the first child, then what they react to second child, to
Is
the third child, to the
different.
fourth child. Then it makes a difference.
Okay. But I think the other thing that plays into it is I find you to be a very easygoing first child. Partly, is it partly do you feel it's personality and your parents are a bit more like let you be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also don't know whether gender comes into play.
Yeah, I would say yes. Yeah. Okay, so you want to hear a very horrible statistic. Yeah, okay, but let me qualify this. I don't want to give all the oldest daughters a complex, okay? So it's not like a straight rule.
Yeah.
But apparently, so I read this statistic, it's an American survey, right? And it's in an academic book, so it's not some just normal survey, it's like an academic research thing that majority of single people, right, tend to be, the likelihood of being single is higher with oldest daughters, first daughters. Yeah. And I think some of the ideas they associated with that is because the older daughters tend to be more responsible, take care of things more, so they end up being more serious. And if the cultural tendency is for guys to rank, they want to marry girls who are fun, quite high on their list, a lot of guys. So it becomes that the oldest daughter generally um, collects traits and patterns that don't make it as easy for them to get attached. Yeah. Like, and they will also consider more before they get together with somebody, because they will think of the family and their responsibilities to other people versus just I want to be in this relationship. Yeah. Which I agree, I kind of relate to that. I feel like, yeah, that's pretty much how I would envision things. Yeah, and of course, if according to Alfred, what's his name again?
Elder.
Elder, that we are more bossy, organized, responsible, adult,
More
pleasing, obey the
demanding.
rules. Yeah, then yeah, law and conformist.
Yeah.
It doesn't make us the most fun people.
Oh no.
Yes, okay, so only youngest child in the room. What do you think of all this?
I don't. I think that birth order like is just one of the factors that
Yeah.
affects the decision making and all that. Because I come from like a family that my brother is like 7 years older.
Yeah.
So like I find that yes, like he's high achiever, responsible. But then I think that gender plays had a lot of part to play where in how I was brought up and how he was brought up. Like how my parents allow him to like do a lot of more things.
Oh
like, that kind.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
I
for
agree.
me they are like more controlling in a way. So like I feel like gender has a part to play. Age gap
That
has a
seems
part
to
to
be
play.
quite common across cultures, that boys are allowed to kind of run rough, but girls need to be protected because, and not just because it's sexist. I think just the view of we are more vulnerable physically maybe is the idea.
Yeah.
Unless it's extremely patriarchal lah. Then you go to a really, really patriarchal country, then it's about like it comes down to things like protecting the girl's purity and virginity and yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how strong that would be in Singapore.
Oh, I don't know.
But definitely still I think in Singapore, guys can get away with sleeping around before marriage more than girls. Girls will get a lot of judgment for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. That will definitely be a factor. And then I think another factor is, for example, in our leadership team, I've noticed, right, that we have a mix of all whatever birth order, but a lot of our leaders end up being the default oldest child in the family a lot of times. Like I would say the youngest, the people who are the youngest child in our team are a bit more easygoing. I find them a bit more like chill and
It's fun.
relaxed. Yeah, more fun, and they're not so perfectionist. I find the oldest children in our team are way more perfectionist, and we're way more responsible. We're way more serious when it comes to like getting things done. We're like, right now. Yeah, but we have a lot of like youngest children. They are the default oldest child. But a couple of reasons now. One is I think if they're the girl, sometimes it can happen. I think if the older sibling's personality is a bit more passive, that's a factor. I also think if the older siblings have a lot of like personal problems, then because they are all leaders in church, they naturally step into the void at home to take care of the parents and take care of the family issues and take care of the finances.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot. I think it's a leadership thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That causes them to assume that role. Yeah. But this is not a fair conversation. You should drag your sisters. But I
And
think
chime
drag
in.
in and y'all might get into a fight on.
Oh.
No, you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but one thing interesting is that they did say that birth order does not influence like like the personality trait. Like for
Talk about
the
that. The five. There's
the
some five thing,
five
right?
personality traits, which is extroversion,
Introversion.
emotional stability, introversion, then agreeableness, conscientiousness, and openness to experience. So it does not affect if you have a certain personality, you will be that. Doesn't matter
It's
your birth
interesting
order.
there's those 5 though. I want to do a podcast on that one day. Extroversion, introversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness.
Emotional stability.
So it's shown agreeable people have better marriages.
because adaptability,
Yeah, they're more adaptable and they don't like meow over things so much.
or like I want it my way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conscientious is actually about detail orientation, right? It's not consideration. It's
Yes,
like meowness.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Apparently a lot of CEOs have conscientiousness. Like they are detail oriented and they tend to micromanage. Yeah. Then what's the
Yes.
4th and 5th?
Openness to experience.
Wow. Interesting. So that's
Yeah.
what to do with what? Cognitive dissonance?
I guess so.
Like how open you are to new ideas in the world?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
but then they did say that so it doesn't affect personality trait, but birth order does slightly influence intelligence.
Hey, but qualify by one
1 to
IQ
2.
point.
1 to 2. IQ
Remember,
points.
IQ is what, upon 200 somewhere there, right?
Is it 180 or something?
So if you're above average, you're 160. If you're like Mensa, you're like 180, 190 or something like that, or even more. I wonder what Jing Xiang's IQ is. Okay, sorry. Those of you listening, Jing Xiang is our resident math genius who has a very high IQ. Yeah, but 1 percentage point.
Yeah,
Is it
so-
even a quantifiable like difference?
Nope.
No, right?
Yeah. No. Yes.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know lah. Hit us up about whether you are upset over India plagiarizing our Count on Me Singapore. Hit us up on whether dressing.
Yes.
You feel guys or girls should dress properly and you find it distracting or not distracting or tempting or not tempting. And then hit us up about birth order.
Yes, tell us.
Yes, let's start a fight on Instagram between the oldest children and employees. Okay, and then that's it for today's
Yes.
random episode,
Yay.
which is what, 1 hour long?
About there.
Out there.
Wow, man, let's break a record. Okay, bye.
Bye.